So judges, for session 3 we had Audio Micro in the 2.0 category, then we had Graphite, the contact relationship management platform, Junar, the sort of database, Wikipedia of databases, Nuair, wireless notification platform, and OpenSpace and Open App Store that's cross-platform. Which one did you like most, and which one was your second favorite? Which one would you most like to own shares in or work for? Which one would you most like to use? Andrea, what did you like?
Sure. Nuair definitely stuck out as a winner for me. And then even though I gave the guys a hard time from Graphite, if they can come up with a solution that really is killer, as an ex-salesperson, I would use it in an instant.
Great. So Nuair, very interesting, and Graphite, if they could make an addicting product. David, which two are your favorites?
I agree with Andrea. I really like Nuair. It's a problem that I need to solve for myself. Personally, I think a lot of people have the same problem. They don't have a business model. And then even though I was skeptical about Graphite, I think if they can work that out, it could be a very useful tool.
Awesome. Aaron, did you have a favorite?
Semi-similar. Nuair is an interesting idea. Not sure it's a business or a company yet. I think a lot of people are going to go, that's awesome, and how do I do it? And I'm worried about that for them. And Graphite is cool, but I want to see both sides of the algorithm.
Right.
Both the piece that is who should I contact, but also who I am contacting constantly, so I know. Because if they have the ranking, they can show me both. I'm actually interested in both extremes, not
so
just...
the people who you have good relationships with,
yeah, who
how
do I
good are
import
they?
into Path?
People who you should be deepening relationships with.
Like both sides of that are really interesting, and they're only dealing with half. They could do both. It'd be cool.
So Nuair and then Graphite are your two?
Yes.
Jeff, what did you like?
I think Graphite, was the one that was solving the clearest need. I think that's something that I personally deal with a lot is, forgetting to follow up with people. So that's one I'd want to use. And then on the business side, I just think Audio Micro, because they had the scalability to go to so many different verticals, and I think they've identified at least one or two that are going to be big.
Yes.
I think from a business standpoint, that's better. The one question I had on Graphite, just to go back to it for a second, it wasn't clear to me if they were selling to the enterprise or to the individual.
Yeah, I think they're pretty clearly going to individuals.
Yeah,
but just from what I know
a
of
lot
it.
of your questions were
wasn't
enterprise
clear.
questions, but I actually don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to be consumer app for Graphite. That's going to be cool.
For Graphite?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
Ted,
I don't think the enterprise thing is
there one you would most want to take a follow-up meeting with as an investor?
I think if they can get a really passionate community, Junar could be a very cool company. A community that's out there scouring for CDC information or new liquor permits being filed in San Francisco, and they can visualize that and push it out. I think they could have a very interesting business, but there's going to need to be a pretty hefty human layer in between the data and the actual sales. So
that one fascinated you the most. Did you have a second place? Anybody you thought?
Yeah, I like Nuair. It seems like someone can make a long battery length Bluetooth device that you could stick on your bike, stick on your backpack, and get alerted anytime it moves within or moves out of range. So that seems like it'd be very interesting.
Chris, any of these interesting to you as an investor or as a user?
Yeah, so Nuair is really interesting to me as a guy with a background in wireless and automation. And I think, and I'm not worried about competitive threats there right now. I do think there aren't many people working on this hard enough yet. Right. And I'm not worried about their model. I think they could very easily be acquired or just build kind of forced automation into some of those tax forcing offers. I think we're seeing the cost per location ad model evolve right now, the door swing. It's something that hasn't really been possible on a passive basis. It's only ever happened on an active basis, checking in somewhere. But if you could ever show the relatedness between people who've seen tweets about X who show up near dealerships for X, that's bankable. And
you would close the loop.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really tight feedback loop that makes a lot of money. So I'm excited about that. And then the marketplace guys, Audio Micro, I love the fact that they built a platform that could just be skinned. And I think sometimes you don't overthink it. You just throw it out there and you let a bunch of different stores happen, and these niche communities come up. I remember when I heard Scott from Meetup say a long time ago that one of the populations they had never anticipated being popular on Meetup was ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, without the church there, they couldn't find each other anymore. Meetup happens, they can find each other, and like, he never designed a business for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, but they ended up being rabid users of this thing.
Yes.
And so I think when you throw a platform up there and let anyone skin it, they can go crazy. I worry about the tattoo stuff a little bit because I think they'll bump into DeviantArt, which has just, which is just a fascinatingly big business in terms of content and art licensing, and I have a feeling they're gonna run into each other, but I'm still pretty bullish on that.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
Same too. I really like Newair. Like I said, I think it's a real-world scripting language. You know, I think that it could. I think one of the things they should focus on is just making killer apps that really describe how this can work for a real consumer. I think that's going to be the hardest part of selling the technology. The marketplace, Audio Micro, I really like that. I think that they have clearly found a few markets that are illiquid, and they're sort of starting to see some growth, but I think I would sort of figure out which verticals are moving fastest and double down on those pretty quickly and focus.
Cool. You can vote at simx.secondmarket.com, and so download the app and vote. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to have 6 companies that our grand jury selected from the Launchpad. These are some of the most promising, odd, interesting folks who didn't make it onto stage because they probably were launched a little bit already. And they're going to have 3 minutes to present, so it's going to be very rapid fire right after a 10-minute break. Let's thank our judges for an excellent job.